Hello, welcome back to Zoographist. You might have seen this fancy new thing in Unreal Engine 5.2, this procedural system. You might be wondering how to do that, and I was also wondering that. And I tried something and find out that it is not that different from our Cinema 4D's cloner system or any Mograph system. Procedural system is not a new thing for Cinema 4D users, but it is always a complicated to set up, and I was thinking if it is coming to Unreal Engine, it will be a complicated to learn a new method to do a procedural system. But as I was surprised, it is actually the exact thing in Cinema 4D, the Mograph we already use and love. The cloner system, that is the exact thing and exact logic in Unreal Engine. And in this tutorial, I'll be showing what are the similarities and what are the differences and how to use it. We don't have to waste anymore. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, we are with Unreal Engine 5.2 right now. It's in preview version, so it might crash sometime. So bear with it. And I just opened a new game called PCG Mograph, and I have done nothing else. So let's save our level first. This is just our open world preset. Nothing else is in there. So let's save it somewhere in our content, sorry, not control N, control S. Save it as our PCG test ground. So let's save it like that and hit save all for once. And it is here. So let's create a new folder and put PCG in that. So it will be a bit more organized. Now, before doing anything in Unreal Engine, let's go to our Cinema 4D and understand some concept. This is Cinema 4D 2023.1.3. It also contains many bugs. It might crash sometime. Bear with that too. And okay, if you are a Cinema 4D user, you might be a fan of our Mograph objects here, or at least you have used our cloner object, I believe. If you don't, this tutorial is not for you. You can skip to the middle part of this tutorial and you can see the Unreal Engine part. And if you do use the cloner, this is for you. And let's create a cloner here. For now, we are not using that right now. And let's create a matrix object too. I know some of you hate matrix object because you think it is a bit complicated, but it is not. Even if you don't use if you didn't use matrix yet, you are actually using matrix object in this cloner and this fracture, one-way fracture, tracer, mouse spline. All of these are actually the matrix object. The only thing is that Cinema 4D is using matrix in the background. Let's see how it is used in Cinema 4D. We already created a matrix object, so let's put our cloner into object mode and use that matrix as the object. And as you know, for cloner, you have to include some objects inside that. Let's put this cone inside that right now. Maybe a bit smaller cones. Yeah. Okay. And let's turn on our matrix, and as you can see, all the matrices are right now. Let's put it 5 and 5. And also I am changing this to multi-instance for performance issues. And if I turn off our cone, as you can see, there's some boxes here for our matrix, and I am moving that matrices a little bit apart. And whenever we turn on, the matrix is replaced by cone. It is not replaced, it's actually on top of that matrix X. But as you know, the matrix X won't it won't show in render view, so it doesn't matter. So the cloner is actually matrix, and if you control our matrix here, and let's add some more, or whatever controls you need to do, let's make it a linear one, add some more, give some rotation, and everything we control in our matrix will be affected to this clone. Actually, clone is the matrix object with objects in it, and the matrix objects are just this position data, position, rotation, or scale, whatever data is included in this. You can see it as a particle object if you want. And the main thing about the particle is particles contain many data, as many data it needed. It contains and it uses that data however we want. I think that makes sense for you. If you don't, if it doesn't make sense, doesn't matter for now. Anyway, so cloner is actually matrix object, and let's see, and this most spline is also a matrix object. Let's see how it is a matrix object right now. And I created a most spline, and also let's create a different matrix right now. Let's create a matrix and put it in linear object, linear mode, and let's put it here, and let's change in z to, let's make this one first step to endpoint. If you don't know what this is, all it's the same thing in our cloner object, just it doesn't have any objects inside that. That's the difference. Okay, so let's put it to endpoint, and let's copy our length from our mouse spline. Let's copy, or we can even set driver and put it in the matrix objects z position to, let's expression set driven absolute. If you don't know what this is, it's actually, if you change this value, it is automatically changing this value. It is saying that this value is equal to this value. Okay, so let's put it in 200 again, and if I change this count number to 200 or 100, I think you can see there's a lot of matrix objects in the, let's put it into I don't know, maybe 6 or 5 is enough for now. And let's go back to our most spline. This should be 5. This step is equal to our matrix count. Let's put it to 5. Equal to, I can't say equal to, it's actually equal to this number plus 1. So let's put 6 here and 5 there. So this is the matrix object because the steps is actually this gap, count of these gaps. So it is 5 when we put the 6, when we put 6 counts of matrices. And let's connect that matrix with a line. For that, let's go to tracer, and the matrix is already in there. So let's connect all elements, and let's hide our matrix and the most spline. Okay, we don't have to hide it. We can change it to a line 1. Okay, let's move it a bit so this won't be an issue. Okay, now let's try giving both of them a random effector. As you can see, it moves exactly the same way. That means this most spline is having many matrices inside, and it is connecting with the tracer line. That's the most spline. And if you, let's turn off the random, and let's say the most spline have a bend, curve, and twist option here. If I give it a bend, or sorry, a curve, you can see that one. And if I do that 129, same in our matrix, in our step rotation 129, let's type 129 because it is a bit slow. Okay, so it has the same result here, and you can connect that too with this thing. So the matrix object is the Mograph actually, and if you know Bernoulli fracture, all the points are matrices, so we can call that as a matrix or a Mograph object or a Mograph point, whichever way you need to call it. And if you know this concept, our PCG, the procedural generation, procedural procedural content generation is the exact same of our cloner or matrix or anything. So let's open our cloner for now. Understand this is our matrix actually, and our clone is looking for an object to clone, or you can clone on the linear way or anything. Let's put it on the object, and let's have an object to clone. For now, let's create a landscape and make that landscape as our object, and our clones are cloned on our landscape object. Let's make that clone in z-axis. Yes, let's put it that way. And as you know, we can add more than clone objects in that cloner. We can add a cube. Let's scale it down, and let's add a sphere. Different objects can be added, and it is inside the cube. I didn't mean to do that. Let's put it here, and as you know, we can increase the count, seed, change the seed, because it is in the surface mode, and it is pasting our object in our landscape randomly in our surface. Let's make the landscape a little bit more bigger, and that's the first thing we need to note. In cloner, we can change it to object mode and add an object to clone on, and it's a landscape object. Here we can do any object like a sphere if you need that. Let's try that with our cloner. It is automatically set to our spheres, normals, and surfaces. So that's the first concept we need to remember to understand our PCG. Now let's go to our Unreal Engine and create a PCG element. First thing first, we need to go to Edit and Editor Preference and search for Invert and turn these two on. So now our navigation options are similar to our Cinema 4D. It is matching to our Cinema 4D, and it is a bit slow because our camera speed is slow. For some reason, I usually do this in 4 speed. I can't get a 4 speed here, so let's put it in 8. It's a bit faster, okay, but that's okay. And now let's go to our project settings and go to our map modes. Let's set this to our PCG test ground, so that whenever I open next time, it automatically opens this thing. And let's find a interesting area for our landscape, and let's go to edit plugins. Again, you need to turn this on. Let's go procedural, search for procedural, and you need to turn this procedural content generation framework on. I know it doesn't show an experimental tag here, but the official site says this is experimental right now, so they are not sure it is going to stay. So I'm not sure it is going to stay, but if it does, we would like that. Okay, anyway, let's turn this on. Let's restart again and give it some time. Okay, our Unreal Engine is open. Let's close that up and search for PCG volume. Yeah, it is there, so the plugin is on. You can have this PCG volume here, and somewhere here you can create a PCG blueprint object that you can do, or you can just close this one and create a new PCG. Let's search for PCG here, and you can create a PCG graph here, and the volume will be automatically created for that. So let's say write PCG underscore. I'm not sure this will be the naming convention Unreal will use. This could be. So let's write PCG, and I don't know, let's write test it out. And if you drag and drop it here, the volume will be automatically generated. I think that's a good idea. And let's move our volume somewhere here up a bit, and let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go with 100 right now. Yeah, 100 is enough, I guess. And I think it is, come on, relevant. I'm not sure why my viewport is a bit laggy with our alt, so I'll go with this navigation thing. And yeah, let's save it again, because this is 5.2 preview and it might crash somewhere in between. So let's open this up, and it is in my other window. Let's drag and dock it here. And as you can see, this is like a blueprint. It is not exactly a blueprint. You can use blueprint objects here, but it's a little bit different. And we have two nodes here, and both of those are not essential, but it has many uses. So let's move it here. For the first part, I am covering this input is essential. output is not essential for now. Let's see what are the uses for that later. And let's hit save, go back to our PCG ground. Nothing happens here. Let's go to our PCG ground and add a sampler. I think surface sampler. Yeah. A surface sampler here, and there are many samplers here. We'll be seeing some of them. And the surface sampler is actually our cloner's object mode for exclusively for our landscape objects. It will make sense in a bit, and still it doesn't show anything. First thing first, we need to select our thing, and let's go to our generate option. You can see there is a generate button here. You need to pressing generate, and it is generated. You don't have to generate again. For now, some cases you need to clean up and generate again. Anyway, for once we hit generate, and let's go to our PCG test ground. Now this surface sampler is our cloner right now with our object mode, and we need an object to be cloned on, and the surface node is exclusively for our landscape, and our input is giving out a landscape value here and also a landscape height value. You can use both right now, and there's a small difference here. This only have the height value of landscape. If you have a different values in your landscape, you can use these two. Both will work. I'll just use this height. There might be a optimization more in here, so let's use that one and hit save. Let's go back and see nothing happened. That's because we added a cloner, but we didn't give any. Let's see, we added a cloner and we did give some meshes to clone on. We didn't give any meshes here, so we need to give the cloner the meshes. Or you can see matrices here, so let's see the matrices from here too. For that, let's right click on the surface and turn on this debug option. If you turn that on and go back, as you can see, we can see there's a lot of boxes, same as in our Cinema 4D, cloned on our surface, and that's too much for our taste. So let's go and reduce our matrix count. It is showing the box, but it is not the box mesh we are supposed to do. That's actually the matrix objects in our Cinema 4D, and it is showing that inside our volume only. You can compare that to our selection tag with the field object if you need, or you can just go here and press this. Where is that? Let's see, one unbound button is here somewhere. Yeah, unbounded, and you don't even have to hit save. If you go back, you can see it is spawned on our landscape or entire landscape, even though we have a bounding box here. So it is now similar to our cloner. And now let's give, and if you see this arrow, there's some options you can change here. We are not touching that right away. We'll be doing that in later tutorial. Anyway, let's give some meshes for that. Like in our Cinema 4D, we need some meshes to spawn. Let's go back, and you can turn this debug off, and let's go back, and all the boxes are gone, but those boxes are there. It's just the position and some other data. If you need to know what other data, you can go to inspect, and I think we need to select one of these. Yeah, and you can see it contains position data, rotation data, scale data, bounding box. This bounding box is not actual. This bounding box, this is a per object bounding box. There is a bounding for per object. We'll see what are those, and we'll compare something similar in Cinema 4D. And there is color data, density data, stepness, seed data, and as you can see, there is a density data, and it is showing here as a black and white color tone. This color tone is actually the density data. Anyway, let's turn this debug and inspect of, sorry, that one, inspect of for that, and let's give a mesh. For that, you can go search here, or you can right click and search the, both are the same. So let's search for mesh, and we need static mesh spawner. Let's take that and connect our out to this in. You don't need to look at these parameters right now, so let's close that up. And if I go back, nothing happened because we give it a static mesh, but we didn't say which mesh. So I select this mesh object and let's go to our attribute panel, if you may, and let's go to our mesh entity, and we can press plus, and we can add a mesh here. We can add a cube for now, and let's go back, and as you can see, it is spawned cube everywhere. Let's go back and turn the off that unbound thing so it is a bit easier to see. Okay, so all that matrices is now mesh with, is now a box mesh. Now let's get some meshes here, and for that let's go and open our Quixel bridge. Enough. And let's go back to our content and our PCG. Let's open that up. Oh, I have already docked there. We don't have to go all that way. Anyway, let's add our, what was that, static mesh. Let's add one of those plans. I don't know the name, but I can scroll through this one and find the plant mesh. This is the PCG tree. What? Oh, PCG is already giving some trees here, so I didn't have to download. Anyway, let's use this as Boston fern for now, and let's go back to our test ground. It is there, but it is too small. Let's try a tree. I'm searching for a tree. PCG tree, that will do for now. We don't have to use that one, the other one. And as you can see, there is tree spawned in our clone. And in our cloner, we didn't just use one tree, we used a sphere, cube, and a cone, so we can use the same thing here too. Let's go back our PCG, and we don't have to add another mesh spawner, but we can just add something here. And if I open that up, and let's try, I don't know, Boston, what, I think, yeah, Boston, that is the same one, smaller one. Let's find that. This might be a little bit bigger, or is it? Yes, it is spawned in, it is spawned, and it is a bit smaller, bear with that. But I should have downloaded some bigger trees. Anyway, as you can see, it is spawned in the some box spaces, and some of them are the tree. So you can add as many meshes here, and it will be spawned to the same boxes. It will be replacing that same boxes, or our matrix object, or our Mograph object, however you need to call it, and it is replacing some of them. And it's, for now, it is actually 50-50 placement, and if there is 100 bushes here, there is 100 trees there. And if you go back here, and you can see a weight tag here, so let's put a weight tag of 2 there, and or maybe 1 there, and weight tag of 10 here. There is a 110 clones there. Only 10 of them are this tree, and the 10 of them are this thing. And you do the calculation, as many it is 111. Let's put this one for 9, and I can say this is 90% of things, and these are the 10% of that total count. And as you can see, we have more bushes instead of our trees, and I can go back to our surface sampler and increase the point count with zero point 0.1, I guess. And let's see, there is a lot of trees and a lot of things. And if I go back and press unbound, as you can see, it took some time to load up, but it usually, yeah, it is faster once it is loaded. So let's go back and put unbound thing on. So it is faster even though we have a lot of tree here. Okay, it made me think it got crashed and it took a lot of time to turn that off, and it didn't take that much time to turn unbound on. I am not sure why that. Anyway, we can save our file right now. Let us take that as a warning and save the file. And let's put it back here. I don't know how it got there. And as you can see, once it is loaded, it is very fast. That means this is using our Cinema 4D's similar kind of thing like in our multi instance. It can load a lot of things, a lot of grasses, and my PC never occurred a problem with so many items. So I believe it is using something like our multi instance. So up until now, we didn't even use our output. You don't have to connect to output. You can connect to output if you need. You don't have to for this part. To make a tree spawn, you can put it like this too. And for output, there is some uses like we can use many other samplers and connect it to output. Output will connect as many as it need. So it acts like as a merge object in Houdini or like in Nuke. It can take more inputs and show all of them at once. So let's put it there right now. It will make things a little bit confused. Anyway, let's keep it like this. You can add more elements too, and let's see what are the options in our sampler. This sampler is actually giving our matrix data, and this static mesh spawner is taking that matrix data here and spawning our meshes on that matrix data. So this is giving out the matrix data, and let's see, it is giving the point extents. This is the one bounding box I was talking about. Every one of those, as you can see, as in Cinema 4D, these things are not colliding or overlapping each other because every one of these points have a radius that allows another point to spawn only after that. We can, that is, for now it is 100, and we can reduce that to 1. Don't reduce that too much. I'll go with the 10 for now. I tried with the 0.1 and crashed once, so don't reduce that too much. So as you can see, the clones become closer, and some of them are overlapping too, so that is too much for our this purpose. So let's put it back maybe 50, and let's go back to our thing, and none of them are overlapping, so that's a good thing. And that's according to your scene. The number here is according to your scene. This is just the bounding box, and our Cinema 4D for now doesn't have that one in here. All of them are overlapping. Let's put it a bit lower for this purpose, and some of them are overlapping. Oh, I'm using WSD again here to navigate. Anyway, so some of them are overlapping. Cinema 4D have that option here, but with an effector called push apart option, and you can give it a radius of maybe 50. 50 is enough, I guess, and none of them are overlapping for now. So the push apart option is already contained. Sorry, not the Premiere. Open our Surface Sampler, and the push apart option is already contained in our Surface Sampler, and that is this point extents. And also when we inspect that one, you can see this bound min, bound max, that is exactly the point. And it has a seed option here also in our cloner for our landscape, and if it is in surface, there is also a seed. Let's copy that one. It won't give you the same result from Cinema 4D because Unreal have a different seed system, but you can give a different number and expect a different randomness here. So that too is the. And what else can we go? We don't have to touch any of these for now. These all are for debugging purpose. And let's go to our static mesh spawner. Here we are controlling the meshes, and it also have a seed because it is actually placing our meshes randomly. It is picking the points where to place the tree. We didn't say this should be a bush or tree. It is picking that one. So that is a random placement. And if we go to our cloner, and if we change this iterate to random, that too is also a random placement. So that is the same thing there, and that to have a seed here, so it will be having a seed inside here too. And let's put, I don't know, 1 2 3 here, and let's go, and we get a different placement. And if I try something else, let's say 5 or 6, I don't know what that number means. I just did that, and we get a different one. So this is not changing the placement positions, this is just changing the whichever the mesh should be placed on that position. So I think we don't have to go here anymore. Anyway, for now, let's see. This is giving out the point positions, and this is getting our point position. So whatever changes for our position, rotation, everything is done in this line, not in our mesh or not in our point for this surface. Anything you done in here will be affecting with our landscape position. So it is not the other, it is inside this one. Like we need to change our rotation or something. Let's go to our Cinema 4D, and we usually spawn this thing, and all of those are rotated to same area. You can't see a rotation in any of these, so let's put a pyramid inside that one, and let's put a z1. Let's make it a bit smaller. So all of those are oriented to its original orientation, and that's an issue. So we usually go and pick an effector, put a random there, and we don't need position, random position, it's already in random positions, so we don't need that. We need the random rotation in this axis, or maybe this axis, no, yeah, this axis. So let's put a 360 axis there, and also we can do a uniform scale randomness up to 0.5. So we get 0.5 up to 0.5 variations in scale, and up to 360 and minus 360 variations for our rotation. This was our variation option in our Cinema 4D, and we have a similar thing here, and I believe that is called a transform. Yeah, transform points, because we are transforming the points. Actually in Cinema 4D we are not transforming this cone box or any of these things. We are actually transforming that hidden matrix inside this one. So we need to do the same here. So let's connect it here, and if I connect it here, as you can see, if you use the blueprint, usually an input will erase the older input, but in here some of the input will accept multiple, not some of the, most of the input will accept multiple inputs. So don't automatically think this will be gone. You need to alt press here to turn that off, and let's put it here. And if I go, nothing changed because we just connected our random, but random effector here, but none of those have any values. As our random effector, we need to turn off which value we need to use. Absolute offset is actually the offset is the position value. We don't need the position value to change now. We have absolute rotation and the rotation value need to be changed, and we have an absolute scale and the uniform scale. Tick option similar as our random option, we have all these tick options, and the scale have a uniform scale option. Anyway, let's go back and turn our rotation value on, and let's undock this thing for a little bit to see that in live. And let's set an rotation value for our, I guess it is in X. Let's try 360 here. No, it is not in X, but as you can see, it is changing. Maybe it is in Z value, because here the Y is the Z, right? Anyway, when I put 360 there, it is taking the 360 rotation. And if you need to match with Cinema 4D, there is also a minus 360 here in Cinema 4D, because let's go back to Cinema 4D, and in random effector you can see, if you turn on that min max, it is 100 percentage of that 360 and minus 100 percentage of 360. Doesn't matter. Let's dock it here. So as you can see, we have changed our rotation randomly, even though this tree shows, yeah, you can see it here. This is turning to this side, and this is turning to this side, this is turning to that side. So it is rotated randomly in 360, and it is random, so we have a random value. We can put a different value for our rotation, and we have a different value. Anyway, I'm not sure why I'm writing 546 and 547. I don't know. Anyway, let's put 192 though. Yeah. And we can change our scale. Let's turn on our absolute scale, and the uniform scale is on, and the locks are on. So that means it should be unlocking when I press uniform scale. It is not, but anyway, let's change this to 0.3 to, let's do a 1.8. I don't know. Okay, so we have a different scaled objects too. Okay, so I believe this all makes sense. So if you are comparing with Cinema 4D to understand this thing, it is actually our cloner and our random object. Here you can see this is our cloner and our sorry, not the random object, random effector. We have our random effector as transform points. Transform points are actually our random effector. Take comment, and this is our random effector, and this is our cloner. Put cloner here, and this particular cloner is actually for, it's dedicated for our landscape landscape object, our Unreal landscape. As you know, Unreal landscape is different from static meshes, so it is dedicated for that. But in Cinema 4D, this is a mesh, and it is getting that mesh. It is not dedicated for our this object. That means we can use sphere or any other objects for the same purpose also. And let's see how to do that in Unreal Engine. We can use different meshes here. So let's create a mesh somewhere. So to create a mesh, we can't use it. Let's see, I don't have any meshes. Let's add some of those with maybe third person blueprint. We can add that one, so we will be having a third person to run in this field. And let's, yeah, it is added. Let's go back, and let's add the same thing here somewhere here. For mesh or any other thing, we don't need our blue bounding box. We can add a mesh. Let's get a mesh from here and let's add it here, and let's make it a bit bigger. Come on. And we can't use this mesh and say you need to spawn on this one. At least as far as I know, we can't use it like this. We need a blueprint for that. Any blueprint will do with a mesh. So we'll do create a new blueprint. Let's go to our PCG folder and let's create right click blueprint class with an actor one. We don't need, you can use any of the blueprints, but I'm using this blueprint right now. Let's say bp underscore mesh PCG spawner. Okay, so let's open that up and let's add a static mesh here, and let's load that thing again, and I forgot what was it called. So let's select that one and go to that thing, select this one and go to our mesh spawner, select our static mesh, add it to our static mesh, and it will be a bit smaller right now. Let's add that one, and now let's add this one, and it is a smaller one. I am increasing the size of this one instead of the blueprint itself. Let's make that a bit bigger. Let's go with 1250. That's enough. That's too much. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, so we have a mesh here, not the static mesh one. We have a blueprint mesh here. So let's save it again, because 5.2 it might crash on you. And yeah, now we need to spawn these things on this mesh instead of here. Let's go with our PCG test ground, and we need a different sampler for that. This one is for dedicated for our landscape. So let's take another sampler, and let's go into our sampler data samplers, and we need a surface sampler. Is actually this one. We need a different one. Sorry about that, it kept crashing on me. 5.2 crashed on me. So let's try that again with the simpler meshes. I changed our meshes with a PCG cube and some quarter cylinder from our, I believe, from our level prototyping thing. We can use one of these instead of this. That might not crash with us. And as you can see, let's hit save once and also save again. And as you can see, now we are spawning our cubes and this half cylinders from here, this one, and we are spawning that one. And let's go back to our PCG mesh spawner and let's go to our spawner thing. It is not actually in our spawner. You can see that in our spatial thing there's a get actor data. We can take that data, and this one is giving out the point data for now, and we need to change something in our get actor data. And let's go to actor filter, and this is not actually an actor here right now, so we need to select our, let's say, this thing is called BP mesh PCG spawner, and it is a blueprint we have created in our PCG folder. Yeah, this one. So let's need to select that one. For that, let's go to actor filter and all world actors, and instead of by tag we can select it by class, and we need to select our BP underscore mesh to PCG spawner. And right now it is selecting all those actors. If I have a different actor here, I'm not sure if it is going to crash on me with the two actors. Let's try that. Before that, let's save it again and go back here, and let's connect this one to here. Before that, let's disconnect this one for safety purposes, and let's connect it here, and it will take some time to calculate, and thankfully it should be spawning on this one too. I think it is only taking one of the output. Why? Let's see. All world actors select multiple is turned off right now, and let's try again. And it did crash it. No, it didn't crash, and it's selecting both of it. Yes, the select multiple option should be turned on, and it is cloning on those objects. All we have to do is get actor data and change the actor filter to all world actors, change the class to mesh spawner class, whichever class you have made, you can select that one, and it will do the same thing here. And for now our random effector is not affecting, we can, and before that let's, okay, why is that taking some time? Oh, it crashed again. Okay, I thought it was going to crash. I'm not sure, sometime it is taking some issues. If that happens a lot, you can just pause regeneration. It is, as you know, whenever we change the even without saving, it is generating again and again, so you can pause it here if you need. So for now, whenever we connected our actor class, it is taking out this bounding box thing from here. It is replacing that because we disconnected it. Okay, we'll take that transform points and place that in between this one, and I'm disconnecting this one because it will keep, come on. Okay, let me take my own advice and turn off this thing, turn on that thing, and let's disconnect this one because it will be having a random valued one and the other one in this place. So I'll disconnect that one and connect this one. It won't be giving any result right now because we paused, and it is faster as you see, and it doesn't take some time. So let's turn that off, and it should take some time. Yeah, it is taking some time, so let's give it some time, and let's go back, and it, come on, yeah, it is spawning with the different values, different sizes, and the different rotation values. It is taking our random placement there too, so it is working as our Cinema 4D cloner. Instead of changing that mesh from here, we need to add a get actor data from here and change all these things here. And also in Cinema 4D, let's go back to our Cinema 4D, we can use spline object too. So let's have a spline object somewhere here, and let's keep it in XZ, and let's increase our, okay, and you can use any spline and put it inside our circle, and it will do the same thing. For that, we can try that in our Unreal Engine, and let's go. You might have noticed we have a spline data here. Let's select that one. I should have paused this one, so let's pause this one, and let's get our spline data. And spline data is the similar one with this one. We need to get our all world actors not by tag but by class, and we don't have a spline class right now. Let's go back and create one. Let's create a blueprint actor, and that's enough for now. Let's go back to our PCG, and spline spawner is like getting that one. It should be taking that one, or let's clean up and generate. So sometimes you have to do this clean up and generate, and it is getting that one. Let's try changing our spline. Should be updating live. If not, just go back, clean up, generate. Okay, it should be changing in live. This one is changing in live. I'm not sure, but for these two it should be. Anyway, get spline data and get actor data is similar one. This one is for spline, this one is for that our any other actors, and this one is for our landscape. So let's post this one, add this one to here, and this one here, and let's hit save before I'm posting, because it might crash on us. Let's unpause, let's try. Well, it didn't crash, but as you can see, all these things, all these cloner can be connected at the same time. All these things can be connected to here, so it won't be affecting with our random effector if you don't need the random effector. And that's it. And if you move this one, it should be updating live. I think our all of those are moving, so that will be an issue. You might need to move it and generate again, or use different PCGs for this one. Instead of using the same one in one, you can do that too. No, you don't have to generate, it is automatically come back. I didn't hit generate, but it automatically come back, but it is a bit slower with, I think this one is the slower one. This actor data one is the slower one. This one seems to be a bit faster, and this is also faster. I think that one is the slower one, I believe. Maybe the counting here is too much. Don't know, this one is a bit slower. So let's leave our tutorial here for now. I'll be coming back with more PCG tutorials. So that's a small overview for Cinema 4D and Cinema 4D's Mograph and the new procedural system. I know there is a lot to cover, and it's already 1 hour video right now, so I'm not going to do that. But we'll be having more tutorials, and there will be more comparisons, and yeah, stay tuned for that. Like, share, subscribe, and also join our Discord channel if you have any more questions. Bye.